Good morning. Now, you may be wondering why I'm wearing scrubs. The reason is because I got a job. I have to back up a little bit to explain why this job works. To start, I'm taking a jewelry making class in September. I took a jewelry course about a year and a half ago, I think, and I did really well. I picked up everything very quickly, and the instructor kept following me around saying, you're natural, you're natural, you're natural. And so naturally, I left the course thinking, oh, I love this. Like, this is so amazing. It's wonderful. I want to do this forever. And then as the months went by, I started to wonder, did I love it because the instructor kept telling me how good I was at it, or did I love it because it was a good fit for my skills? So I took another class a little while ago where I made this. It's a cedar ring. I also have a pair of earrings that I made, but I haven't actually done anything with those yet. And this was with a different instructor. Same school. Actually, it was a slightly different style. It was the lost wax casting. I'll link a couple of videos on how to do that below. Because the one thing that I really don't like about other YouTubers is when they say things expecting that other people are just going to be able to understand what they said. And a lot of times they'll say the words quickly, and then the person is left going, what did that mean? What were they saying? And so I will put that stuff downstairs in the description so that you can see what I'm talking about. Because the first time I heard it, I was like, oh, what? Say what now? What does that mean? So what I want to do right now, oh, and by the way, this is all my art. A lot of pieces that I have on my vanilewhimsy.com website. Again, link in the description. And I just wanted to have a nice colorful background. The light in here is horrible, and I'm working on the lighting solution, but it's gonna take some time. So, especially because I struggle with places to plug things in. So it's gonna be hard for me to work it out, but I'm trying. Just know that I'm trying. The top 5 tips to help a person through their work week, which are tips that I have been thinking about in the last week because I started my new job. They called me on, was it Tuesday? Wednesday. They called me on Wednesday and said, can you start tomorrow? And I was like, yes, I can. So I did. I went in and I now work in a medical clinic, and it's part-time, so it will be Monday to Thursday from 5 to 9, and then Friday 10 to 5. The clinic closes at 5 on Fridays, and that's it, whereas it's open until 9 every other day of the week. It's very part-time, which initially I was like, well, that's not really that ideal. With this jewelry course that I'm taking starting in September in a different town, it's perfect, which is why I really, really, really wanted to do it, because the course in the other town, it's a half hour, well, it's a 40-minute drive from here. The course is 9 to 2, Monday to Thursday, and then no class Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So if you can see why that works perfectly with 5 to 9 Monday to Thursday, and then 10 to 5 on Fridays, then you can see why this is the absolute most perfect fit. Like, the hours are perfect. And between now in May and September, when I start, I'll be doing the Entrepreneurs on the Rise program, which is something that my province is offering, where they pay enough to cover your bills, although not car payments, because for some reason that's not considered a bill, while you're taking the course. And it's basically a boot camp on how to start a business. And initially I signed up for it thinking that what I wanted to do was my art, because I love my art. I mean, look at it. It's so happy and so bright. Like these two are my 2 most recent. Actually, this one and these 2 are my 2 most recent. 3 most recent, and I love them. And I got one of the best reviews I've ever gotten from my very first ever sale from my website, which just happened a couple weeks ago. And it was wonderful, and I put it on all my socials because that kind of review needs to be celebrated. Someone who would take the amount of time out. Anyway, let's go back to the main point of this video. Because of the location of where the clinic is, it's right in the heart of downtown, not close to where I live. And it's close to some used bookstores, one of which is one of my favorites, to coffee shops, lots of coffee shops, lots of little like knick-knack stores, including a couple that sell my greeting cards where I have these patterns on them. Anyway, so what I unfortunately have started doing, because now I'm, getting paid, although not a lot, It's only $23 an hour, but again, it's better than nothing. I have to keep telling myself that. It's better than nothing. I used to make almost $40 an hour and now I make 23, and I'm frankly grateful. It's a lot less stress. It's quite a simple job. There's a couple things that I know I'm not going to enjoy doing, but that happens with every job, so that's okay. I can get past it. And with a few amount of hours that I'll be working, the chances that I'll have to do those things go down significantly, so that's nice. But anyway, so between now and September, I'm available to work extra hours. So in my training in the beginning, I will be full-time. So I was, what did I work? 10 to 5 on Thursday, 9 to 5 on Friday. Then I'll be 12 to 9 all this week. They're going to put me by myself for the last 4 hours, mostly because they can kind of tell that I'm pretty competent and I can figure things out pretty easily. So they're pretty happy with that. And they were like, yeah, I mean, you can have 4 hours to ask questions and learn a couple of things that you haven't learned yet. And then, 4 hours by yourself, and the doctors can help you with things that you really, that there's no documentation on or anything like that. So I will be full-time, I think they said till the end of this week, and then possibly next week, depending on how easily I catch up on things. I assume I will be back to my regular schedule next week because I need time to do the Entrepreneurs on the Rise thing in the morning. It's relatively intensive. It's quite interesting, but it is helping me figure out what it is that I want to do for my business. I've started a bad habit, and that is I found a coffee shop within a block of where I am working, and that coffee shop sells probably the best chai frappe that I've ever had in my life. But it's also like $7, a little bit less than $7, and you don't get a big one. And so on my lunchtime, I have been, getting outside and walking because we had really nice weather last week, and it's going to be back up to our normal springish temperatures this week with the occasional smattering of rain here and there. But I started buying the frappes again, and I was thinking, even while I was buying it, why am I doing this? I can't afford it. I'm so much debt right now. I have to focus on it and get rid of it as soon as possible. And so that was not great. And so I thought I need to come up with some ways to get around, well, first off, to get around me and the way I spend money, because I'm so bad. Oh my God. But also just to make myself successful for the week. And I'm not doing that by doing what I have been doing, which is, buying a snack alongside that coffee so that I'm spending $11 a day. Do I need to be doing that? So, top 5 tips. Number 1 for me specifically, when it starts to get warm, my body temperature starts to get out of whack. And I always thought it was a thyroid thing, and so did my doctor, and we did some tests. That's not it. I honestly think it's just because I just, need to lose some weight and need to get some more exercise. I mean, I love cycling, so this time of year I basically switch my diet to salad with a cheese bun and then a bike ride pretty much every day, because I can't drink hot coffee in the afternoon. So I usually have my big coffee in the morning, which specifically I'm drinking my coffee at home, of course, because it's cheap and because I can make it and I can control how much sugar there is, which in this case is none. I don't usually put sugar in my coffee. But for some reason, when people make iced coffees, there's always an enormous amount of sugar. I don't want that for myself. It makes it hard for me to sleep. And when I have too much of it, sugar I mean, I get really aggressive and angry and I have no patience, and I don't want that because I'm in a place where mentally I'm finally starting to get back to who I used to be, which is someone who, I don't even know what the word is, just someone who isn't as angry as I used to be. Silly way to put it, but you get what I mean anyway. I don't want coffee with sugar in it. I want cold coffee, not coffee, because I understand that when you drink iced coffee, it doesn't taste right when you have that cream and coffee and it's cold. It just, like, everyone, looks at their formerly hot coffee and goes, ew, why would I drink that? It's cold. So when you add sugar in it, makes it taste better. And I don't want that. So I bought a bunch of chai tea last night and I brewed a full teapot full of water and put a chai bag in each of the cups. I'll show a photo of it here. And now then cooled it, then put it into a glass jug and put it in the fridge overnight. So the steeping stopped. I only let it steep for about 4.5 minutes, somewhere around there, and put it in the fridge. And then I'm going to add just a little bit of cream in the morning because it's cold, and then take it to work with me, and then I can have that with my lunch. And then I have that tiny bit of a caffeine boost because, again, I chose chai tea, which is black tea, which means it has caffeine. And that will give me enough to make it through the rest of my shift. Yeah, just preparing the caffeine ahead of time to make sure that I get to work and I can be awake. Because my new coworkers have been a little concerned about how much I yawn. They'll get used to it, but that's just me. I'm tired all the time and my brain is overloaded, and now I've made everything worse it was really hard to get through that period without work, but I also just enjoyed my last couple of months with my darling little kitty. And so it's nice now to have time to focus on my business and deciding, do I want to do jewelry full time? Do I want to do this full time? Do I want to do YouTube full time? What do I want to do? And I think this Entrepreneurs on the Rise program will help me with that. Number 2, if you hate cooking like I do, and as a single person, I gotta say, it is so annoying to have to do this every single day. I hate it. I don't feel like it's worth the amount of time that it takes to do, let's say, half hour to 45 minutes of cooking, where you're cutting stuff up, you're chopping it, you're doing whatever, you're heating things up, you're putting them in the microwave, you're putting them in the oven, you're putting them in whatever. And then you have to clean everything up, and when you eat, it takes 15 minutes. Like, what is the point? I hate it. I hate it. I've never loved it. I still don't love it. I'm never going to love it. It's not my favorite. I need to go back to batch cooking. I don't like batch cooking either, but it needs to be done. I need to be able to take something quickly, throw it in my bag when I go to leave, which right now is not first thing in the morning, just because I am 12 to 9 and eventually I will be 5 to 9. So this week especially, it was very important. Did I prepare on the weekend? No, I have good excuses. Batch cooking is going to become important, so that all I have to do is just take the thing out of the freezer, throw it into my bag, get a fork or knife, whatever it is that I need, grab my little snack and go. So the other number 3 is, number 3 is also pre-prep when it comes to snacks. So lately I've been back on a rice cake thing. I love myself some plain rice cakes with normal natural peanut butter. Got a special hack about the peanut butter, by the way, which every time I tell somebody, they're like, oh, I never thought about that. And I don't know why, but I didn't think about that either for a long time. You know how people hate using natural peanut butter because when they take it from the fridge, it's rock hard and can't be spread, and you have to sit there for 20 minutes, or you have to like work it with your knife to make sure that it gets nice and soft. Well, pro tip, when you buy the peanut butter from the store, put it into a bowl, open up the whole jar, put everything into the bowl, mix it really well, and then put it back in the jar, throw the lid on, and put it in the fridge. It should not be hard to use after that. It won't be as pliable as the full sugar version that Kraft and Jif and all those other companies sell, but it will be a lot more malleable, and you won't have to wait as long for it to not defrost, but just warm up, I guess. Cool down isn't the right word either, but anyway, it works really well. Ever since I started doing that and making sure that it's really, really well mixed, like if you're mixing it and you have a little bit of a lump on whatever it is that you're mixing with, put that lump back in there and make sure that you mix that too, because every piece that isn't fully mixed with the oils that come naturally from the peanuts is going to stop it from being spreadable. So if you want to get off that sugary peanut butter and go to the natural stuff, and I've heard so many people say this, oh, it's so much better, blah, blah, blah. It actually is better. It really is. It tastes better to me. It's so much more natural. It's so much less sugar. And I feel so much better when I have it, because I can have a rice cake, which is very few calories to begin with, and then that all important protein that I get from the peanut butter. And it's a delicious snack. It's crunchy. It satisfies that craving, and then I feel much better. So anyway, I have been buying rice cakes, which I don't love because there's a lot of plastic involved there. But I also made peanut butter protein balls with that natural peanut butter again. And then I add honey and flax seeds and little mini semi-sweet chocolate chips, usually about a tablespoon of those. And then I'll just put the recipe down below anyway. They're delicious and they freeze really well. Oh, and oats, of course. So snacks, I do that as well. And then all I have to do is just pack, put them all in my bag, and I'm good to go. It saves me a lot of time and a lot of stress worrying about like, oh my God, I didn't prepare ahead of time. What am I gonna do? Next up, veggies in jars. So that sounds nuts, but I always call my fridge affectionately the place where good intentions go to die, because I buy wonderful, fresh, delicious, cheap vegetables. And I mean to use them in recipes or, you know, keep them as snacks or do whatever. And then a month later, they have gone bad, and that's my fault. But I do it all the time, and I'm trying to stop. So a couple of months ago, I tested something I saw on the internet where it said if you cut up a bunch of vegetables, whether it's, you know, carrots or cucumber or celery, and you put them into jars with water and then put the jars in your fridge, they last much longer. And of course, you have to prepare them ahead of time. You have to slice them. With the carrots, you have to shave them if that's what you do. Not everybody does. Some people just clean them off from the outside and eat them that way. I do that when I pull them fresh from the ground, but for some reason, when I put them into the jars, I shave them. That's weird. Huh. Anyway, they actually do last a lot longer. They're crisp, they're cold, which I love, especially this time of year when it starts to get really warm. And yes, I know I'm in Canada, but believe it or not, we get temperatures sometimes above 100 degrees Fahrenheit. It happens. And yeah, I just love it. It tastes good, it's crunchy, and it's available. There's no preparation. I just have to take the jar out, open up the lid, pull out a couple of pieces, and I've got a great snack. There's nothing wrong with that. Like that's wonderful. And I never believe stuff like that I see on Pinterest or Instagram or whatever, because there's always hacks people are trying to give and they never work. Well, I'm never going to do that. I'm only ever going to share hacks that work for me, because if they work for me in my small town in Canada, they will work for pretty much anyone. Those two are the peanut butter one and the pre-chopped vegetables in jars with water. Very good tips. Finally, if you are the kind of person who needs a schedule to make sure that your things get done, and by things I mean cleaning, dishes, organizing, laundry, anything, you know, normal maintenance like wiping down the shelf in your fridge or defrosting your freezer or anything like that, then make a schedule. The best possible thing that I could suggest is to go to a thrift store, get a used marker board, because they end up there all the time. There's a whole bunch of hacks on how to clean them properly. And then put that marker board up somewhere and make sure that you set yourself a schedule. I have, so that, you know, after work on one day I do this thing, after work on another day I do this thing. Of course, I won't be off until 9 now, and I'm not at all interested in keeping my neighbors up. The traffic that we have to listen to all day does that all on its own. So I will do that stuff before I go to work, or I'll schedule it in between loads of laundry on the weekend. If you need a schedule, make one. It can help, especially if you're the kind of person that, you know, relies on it. That's it. That's all I got for you. If you have any questions, any other suggestions, please tell me down below. Now, one more question that I want to ask. I thought I would maybe set up like a Patreon or something and offer these as prints, as some sort of, you know, multi-tier reward system. I don't particularly enjoy chat rooms and whatnot, just because I forget to go in them all the time, especially because everybody loves to do their whole special exclusive, you know, community. I don't particularly enjoy that. I can make one if people want a Discord server, totally fine, but I'll put that as part of a perk. But I'd rather send out my art. I want other people to see it. I want it to bring joy to other people. And so if that means that I have to, you know, make the prints at my own expense, which it wouldn't be because people would technically be paying for it, then I'm okay with that. I want my art to be in other people's homes because I love it, and I think other people will love it too. Let me know what you think. Have a wonderful week. I'll see you next week. Bye.